So today's video is going to be on the downfall of Huw Edwards. Now, he was once one of our nation's beloved newsreaders. He is now a convicted paedophile. Last Monday, he walked from court after being sentenced. Well, he was given a 6-month suspended sentence, suspended for 2 years. And today's video is about him. Now, for anyone outside of the UK, Huw Edwards has been a permanent feature on the BBC for as long as I can remember. Now, the BBC is not short of paedophilic men. Jimmy Savile, Rolf Harris, Tim Westwood can also be added to that ever-growing list. In all the news stories I've read, the first thing that they lead with is Huw Edwards, the man who announced the Queen dying to the nation. Now, I'm not going to lie, I just stayed on Twitter because I can't stand the telly. Unless it's football, I'm not interested. To be honest, I might watch the odd film or, you know, the odd documentary, but it's something I don't watch on a day-to-day basis. So a little bit of background information on Huw Edwards. He grew up in Bridgend in Wales. He came from a church-going family. It is said that his dad was not necessarily abusive, but there was violence in the home. No great details were given, to be honest. He went to Cardiff University, and one of the things that was brought up in court was that he didn't get into Oxford University, and this left him feeling less than, which is so insulting. He went into broadcasting. He covered the miners' strikes in Wales in the 70s, and then he started doing the news at 10 on the BBC in 2003. Now, he was quite powerful at the BBC, and he's broke some of the biggest news stories in Britain in the last 20 years. Now, when it came to the news at 10 when I was younger, I just loved Trevor McDonald. He was my favourite. Loved him. So let's go through the charges. He had been sent images from a convicted paedophile on the WhatsApp, and he pleaded guilty to making indecent images of children. 41 images in total, 7 of which were the most serious category A, which shows the actual rape of a child. The youngest child was said to be around 7 years old. The children are unknown. We still don't know who they are. Now, in court, mitigating factors. Huw Edwards says to this person, this convicted paedophile, "Don't send me illegal things." But he only said it once. He said it after receiving the category A things. Now, after receiving the category A, he could have blocked the person, but he didn't. He could have said, "Don't send me any more images," but he didn't. He only said it once. It also said in court that he didn't then send them on to anybody else. He just used them for his own consumption, which we all know is masturbating to them. I doubt he's taking them to church and praying for the souls of these poor, defenceless little babies. And another mitigating factor is he didn't try to find any more. So in England, I just want to go through, because people are like, "Oh, he made indecent images of kids." the law is not how it sounds. So in our child sexual abuse material law, possession of images means either a physical photo or a digital image prohibited by law. Now, making indecent images is dealt with in a similar way to possession. It involves viewing an image which results in it being downloaded to the device. It doesn't mean making the original image, and that's what he pled guilty to. So he's saying that someone sent him the image. When he clicked on the image to view it, it then downloaded to his device, which is the offence of making it. Now, there's also the offence of distribution, which is what the convicted paedophile was guilty of. And that entails sending a digital file by social media, email, chat rooms, things like that. It has to be proven that the intention was to send the image and that the sender knew it was illegal. Now, the production, I think when people hear making images, this is what they think production is, because production is the actual taking of the photographs or video to produce the indecent images. Now, these are the people that are in the room with the kids, abusing the kids. You know, I know it's treated so differently within the law, within tariffs, but I think the people viewing this material is equally as bad as the ones actually abusing the kids. I've been researching and writing about child sex abuse now for 10 years at university and then for YouTube. And I've never seen one of these images, but I've read about them and I've heard victims talk about them, and I've spoke to paedophiles about them too. That alone has hurt my soul. Now, Huw Edwards he searched for these images. He knew they were illegal. He paid for them. He masturbated to them. And he's still got the audacity to play the victim. The only victims are those kids who we don't even know who they are, where they are, if they're okay. They're the victims in this, not him, not his mental health. I could not give two fucks about him, to be honest. Now, I said last year, Huw Edwards is a sexual deviant and there's more to him, because last year it came to light that he had been buying nude images off a 17-year-old boy for 3 years. Now, this boy was addicted to drugs, and his mother tried going to the BBC saying, look, you need to put a stop to it. He's buying child porn, basically. They weren't interested. She ended up going to the media. I think she went to the Sun, of all newspapers, to go to. Why she went to them, I don't know. Now, at the time, colleagues and people in the media and the public were treating it like it was a gay issue. And they were saying stuff like, oh, he must be gay, and it's because he's in his 60s now and he probably doesn't feel comfortable being fully gay. And at the time, I was fuming, because I was like, this is not a gay issue. He is a predator. He is a manipulator. And at the time I said something else will come out, because these people cannot help themselves. And then this year, he was arrested and charged for child abuse material. He's a sexual deviant, and this is how they operate. You can't help these people. Rumours date back with this man to 2008. And he did nothing. This was around the same time when Jimmy Savile was still alive, and there was rumours about him, and the BBC still wouldn't do nothing about him. So the person who sent the image to Huw Edwards, the convicted paedophile, his name was Alex Williams, and he was 25. Now, he received his sentence first, and he received a suspended sentence. So I think when he got a suspended sentence, I knew that he was setting the stage for Huw Edwards to get one too. Even though technically they both could have got up to 10 years in prison. Now, the South Wales police were investigating Williams, and they contacted the Met. Huw Edwards paid £1,800 for this material, for these images of children being raped. Now, allegations first came to light in November last year, 2023. The BBC still paid him his wage, even though there was already complaints in from a woman who he'd been messaging on social media. I mean, this woman, she went to the BBC, and then she ended up dropping the charges, dropping the case, and then she came back again, this time with receipts. Huw Edwards left himself in April 2024 when these new child abuse charges came to light. So let's talk a bit about the sentence. Less than 20% of these people receive a custodial sentence for these crimes. If Williams and Edwards had been dealing drugs, or discussing a riot, or the migrant crisis, or the trans issue, they would have done years in prison. There's absolutely no deterrent to these people when it comes to children and images of rape and abuse. Now, for some reason, I think it's like 90% of all court cases begin in the magistrate's court, and then from there they will send it to the Crown Court. For some reason, this case was heard in the magistrate's court. Now, the longest sentence that magistrates can give is 6 months, and if I remember, that the most that they can fine, it used to be when I done law anyway, is £5,000. So the 6 months was the longest he could have got anyway, because it stayed in the magistrate's court. This is not a magistrate's court case. This should have been in the Crown. The judge stated that Huw Edwards, don't you just love the judges in these cases? Huw Edwards does not pose a risk to children. The only risk he poses is to himself. Yeah, this arsehole judge actually said that. Never mind these 41 videos and images of these innocent kids being abused, being victimised, being raped, being molested. Never mind them. Huw Edwards is actually the victim in all this. We need to start looking at victims, children and victims first. I literally don't care what risks are posed to these men and women who either look at kids sexually or abuse kids sexually. I could not care less. I really couldn't. I would happily sign off on the death penalty coming back for them. To me, it's good riddance if something does happen to these people, because at least then innocent kids are actually safe. He's also been given 25 sessions of therapy, rehabilitation. I want to ask you this. If you think rehabilitation and therapy can fix these paedophiles, child molesters, child rapists, would you let one babysit your child? Like if they said, oh yeah, you go out to the pub for the night, put your feet up, enjoy, I'll look after the kids overnight. Would you actually allow one of these people who has done the 25 sessions of therapy, all magically fixed, would you let them babysit your child? Because I wouldn't. He's been put on the on the sex offender register for 2 years. And then after them 2 years, he's magically not a sex offender anymore. All the court banged on about was him and his mental health. And, oh, you know, he had imposter syndrome because he couldn't go to Oxford University. He had to go to Cardiff University. Fuck off. Fuck off, Huw. No one cares. And then he can also keep his pension, which I believe is about 300 grand a year. Unless they've reduced it or something. But that's what it was meant to be. So that's nice, isn't it? Nice to know justice being served in this case. Just like all the other cases. I can't stand this man. I can't bear him. But have a good evening, and I'll see you in my next one. Ta-da.